My previous bias has been entirely erased. It is obvious to me now that you can make incredible software using Godot. I think it's worth going in on that. There's one other piece I need to talk about here that might also be our saving grace. As I mentioned before, Epic and Apple don't get along due to the pricing scuffle and Epic putting in their own model for payments in Fortnite and getting banned from the App Store. Because of that, when Apple wanted to do proper 3D interactive experiences for their new virtual headset, they partnered with Unity. And even in the slide where they did that partnership, it was really awkward, like they had cut out another company from it, because I think the Epic beef caused them to be cut from this. As a result, Apple and Unity partnered very, very close, and now Unity is screwing over developers. Apple has to be very careful about their sentiment with devs because it's always up and down. They're in danger here. This is a huge risk. And I honestly think one of the most likely outcomes here is Apple putting their foot down and saying, no, Unity, you're our partner. You're going to fix this or we're out. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Apple's going to hop in here and get Unity to unscrew themselves. They might even end up acquiring them. Who knows? We'll see in the near future. Regardless, I don't think Apple's going to let this fly. We've already seen some clawback from...
And wow, what a fucking improvement. Unity gets bought out by Apple.
The Vargin.
That'll get rid of the nickel.
Oh, hi there. The Vargink. Fancy seeing you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Hang on, let me check my... Am I still connected? Right. Yeah, I'm still connected to my phone. Alright. Alright. Everything, all systems should be green. In theory. In theory. Oh, I forgot what these...
and get Unity to unscrew themselves.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that'd be a real improvement if Apple bought out Unity, because Apple isn't known for nickel and diming their customers.
Charge developers using things like Game Pass. Just a nice change, but it's nowhere near enough. Anything beyond a full massive apology and commitment to work with the community to prevent this going forward, anything less than that is not enough. I think they're realizing that. I hope they get it though, because I'm scared. Last I checked, 4 or 5 of my top 10 games ever were in Unity. It is capable of being used for incredible things, and there are so many incredible developers who are deep on the Unity platform. I really hope these changes aren't the end of this platform and don't hurt those studios more than Unity already has. But it does seem like Unity has forgotten what made them great in the first place, the developers who love them. And I sincerely hope they'll walk this one back and focus on making things developers love again.
You are a delusional moron.
Hadman has.
You are a delusional
With
moron.
great power comes great. Fucking. Whatever, am I right, fellow gamers?
I don't want any of this for Christmas. I don't have anything particular I got to watch in the background. Chaka recommendation.
The Vargink. First you make engine, then you let everyone use it for whatever, then you profit.
Oh, actually, I know what we can watch. Not even watch, it's an audio book. Oh boy. Oh, isn't this gonna be exciting? I forget what we were up to. Here we go. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. Speed, Words, and Clearness. 1. The unseen environment is reported to us chiefly by words. These words are transmitted by wire or radio from the reporters to the editors who fit them into print. Telegraphy is expensive, and the facilities are often limited. Press service
Lord
news is,
Idris
therefore,
Rex.
usually coded.
Before
Thus
we
a dispatch
audio
which
book,
reads,
I have a quick clip
Washington,
for us.
D.C.
Well, I'll take it.
June 1st.
Lord Idris Rex. I posted it. I don't know if the YouTube thing will say the message.
Oh, nah, it won't work on YouTube if you put the link in there. Do you want to just send it to me on Discord or something? Because I'm pretty sure YouTube... Because I use the restream chat, it doesn't let me have the live chat, it only lets me have the top chat, and I think YouTube just automatically removes any hyperlinks you send on YouTube or some shit. Here we go.
Lord Idris Rex. Ah, gotcha. Sent it to ya.
It's easy. Venom Galacticus. Galactus.
No, I'm not gonna snap. No, I don't want them to leave. I need a highlight. I need a highlight for YouTube. I think that might have beat me anyway, so I don't know if it matters. He needs a highlight for YouTube, he says. No, I'm not gonna snap. No, I don't want them to leave.
I need a highlight for YouTube, and then the monkey paws finger curls.
The United States regards the question of German shipping seized in this country with the outbreak of hostilities as a closed
and
incident.
the monkey paw
May pass over the wires in
curls.
the following form. Washington 1. The Unistas RGDS TQ of GARE SPG seized in TSQ at T Outco Hawks as a Claude incident. A news item saying, Berlin, June 1st, Chancellor Wirth told the Reichstag today in outlining the government's
Lord
program
Idris
that
Rex.
restoration and reconciliation
Careful
would be the
what
keynote
you
of the new
wish for.
government's policy. He added that the cabinet was determined disarmament should be carried out loyally and that disarmament would not be the occasion of the imposition of further penalties by the Allies. May be cabled in this form. Berlin 1. Chancellor Wirth told T Reichstag D in outlining the GVTS-PG and TTQN restoration reconciliation WD be the keynote F new GVTS policy. QJ he added TTT cabinet WSDTMD disarmament SDB carried out loyally and TT disarmament WDNB. The OCON F imposition of further penalties by T Alice. In this second item the substance has been culled from a long speech in a foreign tongue, translated, coded, and then decoded. The operators who receive the messages transcribe them as they go along, and I am told that a good operator can write 15,000 or even more words per 8-hour day, with a half an hour out for lunch and 2 10-minute periods for rest. 2. A few words must often stand for a whole succession of acts, thoughts, feelings and consequences. We read. Washington, December 23, a statement charging Japanese military authorities with deeds more frightful and barbarous than anything ever alleged to have occurred in Belgium during the war was issued here today by the Korean Commission, based, the Commission said, on authentic reports received by it from Manchuria. Here eyewitnesses, their accuracy unknown, report to the makers of authentic reports, they in turn transmit these to a commission 5,000 miles away. It prepares a statement, probably much too long for publication, from which a correspondent calls an item of print 3.5 inches long. The meaning has to be telescoped in such a way as to permit the reader to judge how much weight to give to the news. It is
Shrimp
doubtful
eye
whether a
subsidiary.
supreme master of style could
My
pack all the
internet is
elements of
ass.
truth that complete justice
Don't worry, I feel you, Shrimp. Our internet's pretty dodgy at the moment, too.
would demand into a 100-word account of what had happened in Korea during the course of several months. For language is by no means a perfect vehicle of meanings. Words, like currency, are turned over and over again, to evoke one set of images today, another tomorrow. There is no certainty whatever that the same word will call out exactly the same idea in the reader's mind as it did in the reporter's. Theoretically, if each fact and each relation had a name that was unique, and if everyone had agreed on the names, it would be possible to communicate without misunderstanding.
Shrimp
In the
eye
exact
subsidiary.
sciences there is an approach to this
Penis.
ideal, and that is part of the
Balls.
reason why of all forms of worldwide
Testicles even.
cooperation, scientific inquiry is the most effective.
Oh
Men
my.
command fewer words than they have ideas to express, and language, as Jean Paul said, is a dictionary of fated metaphors. The journalist addressing 500,000 readers of whom he has only a dim picture, the speaker whose words are flashed to remote villages and overseas, cannot hope that a few phrases will carry the whole burden of their meaning. The words of Lloyd George, badly understood and badly transmitted, sent en Briand to the Chamber of Deputies, seemed to give the pan-Germanists the idea that the time had come to start something. A British Prime Minister, speaking in English to the whole attentive world, speaks his own meaning in his own words to all kinds of people who will see their meaning in those words. No matter how rich or subtle, or rather the more rich and the more subtle that which he has to say, the more his meaning will suffer as it is sluiced into standard speech and then distributed again among alien minds. Millions of those who are watching him can read hardly at all. Millions more can read the words but cannot understand them. Of those who can both read and understand, a good 3/4 we may assume have some part of half an hour a day to spare for the subject. To them the words so acquired are the cue for a whole train of ideas on which ultimately a vote of untold consequences may be based. Necessarily the ideas which we allow the words we read to evoke form the biggest part of the original data of our opinions. The world is vast, the situations that concern us are intricate, the messages are few, the biggest part of opinion must be constructed in the
Deadpool's
imagination.
1985.
When we use the word Mexico,
Chile.
what picture does it evoke in a resident of New York?
Hey, how's it going, Deadpool?
Likely as not, it is some composite of sand, cactus, oil wells, greasers, rum-drinking Indians, testy old cavaliers flourishing whiskers and sovereignty,
He's
or
listening
perhaps
to
an
a book
idyllic
while using
peasantry a
wood.
la Jean-Jacques, assailed by the prospect of smoky industrialism, and fighting for the rights of man. What does the word Japan evoke? Is it a vague horde of slant-eyed yellow men, surrounded by yellow perils, picture brides, fans, samurai, banzais, art, and cherry blossoms? Or the word alien? According to a group of New England college students, writing in the year
Deadpool's
1920, an alien was the following.
1985.
A person hostile
thanks.
to this country. A person against the government. A person who is on the opposite side. A native of an unfriendly country. A foreigner at war. A foreigner who tries to do harm to the country he is in. An enemy from a foreign land. A person against a country. Etc. Yet the word alien is an unusually exact legal term, far more exact than words like sovereignty, independence, national honor, rights, defense, aggression, imperialism, capitalism, socialism, about which we so readily take sides for or against. 3. The power to dissociate superficial analogies, attend to differences and appreciate variety is lucidity of mind. It is a relative faculty. Yet the differences in lucidity are extensive, say as between a newly born infant and a botanist examining a flower. To the infant there is precious little difference between his own toes, his father's watch, the lamp on the table, the moon in the sky, and a nice bright yellow edition of Guy de Maupassant. To many a member of the Union League Club there is no remarkable difference between a Democrat, a socialist, an anarchist, and a burglar, while to a highly sophisticated anarchist there is a whole universe of difference between Bakunin, Tolstoy, and Kropotkin. These
Deadpool's
examples show how difficult it might
1985.
be to secure a sound
Who
public
what are
opinion
we
about de
listening to?
Maupassant among babies, or about Democrats.
We're listening to Public Opinion by Walter Lippmann, who is considered basically the grandfather of modern journalism and modern propaganda. And this is a book he wrote in 1922. So this is pre-World War II. So keep that in mind on how on the money this cunt is. This was written in 1922. This is before World War II, but after World War I. And yeah, this is highlights the mechanism of public
Deadpool's 1985 are excellent.
opinion. So what they're talking about here is what they got: speed,
Shrimp
words,
eye
and clips.
subsiup. You ever watched Edward Dutton? Even if I disagree with him, he's always hilarious.
Edward Dutton. That sounds familiar.
Deadpool's 1985 Shrimp. How are you, motherfucker?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I don't think I've seen this guy at all, sorry.
That's in the Union League Club. A man who merely rides in other people's automobiles may not rise to finer discrimination than between a Ford, a taxicab, and an automobile. But let that same man own a car and drive it, let him, as the psychoanalyst would say, project his libido upon automobiles, and he will describe a difference in carburetors by looking at the rear end of a car a city block away. That is why it is often such a relief when the talk turns from general topics to a man's own hobby.
Shrimp eye
It is like
subsiup.
turning from the landscape in the parlor
Peachy
to the
keen
plowed field
homie G,
outdoors.
good to see you.
It is a return to the
I'll link a
three-dimensional
good vid
world
of his in
after a
Discord.
sojourn in the painter's portrayal of his own emotional response to his own inattentive memory of what he imagines he ought to have seen. We easily identify, says Ferenczi, two only partially similar things, the child more easily than the adult, the primitive or arrested mind more readily than the mature. As it first appears in the child, consciousness seems to be an unmanageable mixture of sensations. The child has no sense of time, and almost none of space. It reaches for the chandelier with the same confidence that it reaches for its mother's breast, and at first with almost the same expectation. Only very gradually does function define itself. To complete inexperience, this is a coherent and undifferentiated world, in which, as someone has said of a school of philosophers, all facts are born free and equal. Those facts which belong together
Deadpool's
in the world have not yet been
1985
separated from those which happen
Hash
to lie
post
side by side in
subsiup
the
hash
stream of
true
consciousness.
communist radio hash
At
true
first, says
socialist
Ferenczi,
radio.
the baby gets some of the things it wants by crying for them. This is the period of magical hallucinatory
Deadpool's
omnipotence. In its
1985
second phase, the child points to the
LOL.
things it wants, and they are given to it. Omnipotence by the help of magic gestures. Later, the child learns to talk, asks for what it wishes, and is partially successful. The period of magic thoughts and magic words. Each phase may persist for certain situations, though overlaid and only visible at times, as for example, in the little harmless superstitions from which few of us are wholly free. In each phase, partial success tends to confirm that way of acting, while failure tends to stimulate the development of another. Many individuals, parties, and even nations, rarely appear to transcend the magical organization of experience.
Shrimp eye
But in the
subsiup.
more advanced sections of
I
the most
posted
advanced
one.
peoples, trial and
Even
error
if you
after
don't
repeated
watch right
failure has
now,
led to the
just
invention
read
of a new
that
principle.
title.
The moon,
LOL.
we learn, is not moved by baying at it. Crops are not raised from the soil by spring festivals or Republican majorities, but by sunlight, moisture, seeds.
Professor Edward Dutton, the Jolly Heretic, Why All Non-Autistics Are Liars.
Deadpool's
An Autistic Guide
1985.
to Security.
Oh boy. I can't wait to read it, LOL.
Why all non-autists are liars. Ooh, look, there's some of ours. Ooh. Ooh. We might give it a watch sometime. True.
Fertilizer and
Go dig and
cultivation.
see what it's about.
Allowing for the purely schematic value of Ferenczi's categories of response, the quality which we notice